folks, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Tribunal. It's your girl Roe, and I am joined, as always, by the one, the only, my sister Manda. How you doing?
Hi, sis. Hi, everybody.
How you
I'm good.
been?
I'm better now.
I was about to say, don't be
I've been
lying.
I've been going through it this week. You
Yep.
know, election, turmoil, stress, mouth.
I
Mostly
mean, I was
mouth.
mostly just focusing on your mouth because of all the dental work that you were having done.
Still having done. Actively
I
having done.
mean, I,
Still
I
still doing
I
it.
tip my hat to you. I have to do a lot of dental work and I keep putting it off. One
Yeah,
because
don't.
Rona.
Well, I mean, if you don't have my dentist is going through extreme procedure, like extreme processes to like do stuff, and I
Reminder,
mean,
I live in Florida.
I'm surprised we haven't sawed off Florida and just sent you on your Viking way. You
It's
red,
because you love our
you red.
beaches.
I
You
mean, I
love
don't.
our beaches.
I don't go
When
to the
you come
beach.
down, you will love our
I'm
beaches.
already brown. I don't need a tan.
It's not about the tan girl. It's about the crinkle fries delivered to you in the beaches. Yes.
You had me
Yes.
at fries. Not.
Crinkle fries.
I mean,
Okay.
sure,
You
but
you underneath your umbrella. It's a beautiful summer day. You got the nice sea breeze, not the nasty full of salt sea breeze. And then a
I mean,
dude comes
I
to
don't hate
you.
that breeze either.
I don't hate the sea breeze, but you know, like when it's a little too salty and then you're just like, oh, it
Not
feels
I
like
like
salt.
salt, so that don't bother me.
When it's too salty, it bothers me. But no, I'd be on the beach underneath the umbrella, getting the right amount of sun, not too much, not too little. And then the dude comes over and says, oh, hello, here are the crinkle fries that you ordered and the fresh guacamole and also your
Wait, are you
mojito.
putting
And I'm like,
guacamole
yes.
on your crinkle fries?
Have you not ever tried guacamole on crinkle fries?
I don't really like guacamole.
Well, I mean, you
Should
need
I
to
leave
fix your life.
should I leave should I leave the chat right now? Like,
I
clearly.
mean, I'm not gonna kick you out because we are about, inclusiveness
Inclusivity?
here.
Yep, and representation. Those who
But what
like
I am
guacamole,
gonna
those
say
who
is I
don't.
will challenge you to broaden your horizons because a bad guac can definitely like push you in a direction on guac.
Oh, I have
I
had some
completely
terrible guacs, though
Yeah, yeah.
I've had some good ones. Like, there's
Wait, have
a
you
fr
had my guac?
I like your guac, and I like my friend Dave's guac because he puts bacon in it.
Have you had my guac with the tequila in it?
No, but I like tequila, and if I had that first before the
So
guac, I probably might get
you
better.
should come down and have my tequila guac. But
Well,
anyway,
I ain't going down to
people
Florida anytime soon.
no, not now. It's not
No.
safe. It's not safe to go anywhere right now, which is why I haven't gone to do the dental work that I need, nor do I want to spend the money that I'm going to have to spend
Yeah,
to do the dental
I
work
don't wanna know how much I'm spending
that
to
I
get
need to
all of
do,
this done.
but I need to do it now. The nice thing for me is that I do have fewer things to do than you. I only have two
Well,
teeth, two on the
mm,
bottom to put in.
right.
But
Yeah, I'm getting 3.
but you know what? But you know what? You know what? When all is
I'm gonna
said
be
and done,
doped as hell up when they do it, so
and less take better care of your teeth now, right?
yeah, for sure. That sounds terrible. Yes, of course. Obviously, take care of yourself. Your health is very important.
Yes,
Do what I say,
it's all
not what
good.
I
It's all
do.
good. But
Clearly.
on this episode of the cast, I really want to jump into this one because I've been looking forward to this all week, and I know that we didn't really talk about what the topic was going to be after our last tribunal. I always had this one in mind. I just didn't know like who we were going to focus in on. But one of our running threads in this series, topics in this series of podcasts that we're doing this year is a segment that we're calling Heroes That Look Like Me, where we focus on heroes in the entertainment industry. They can be characters, they can be individuals in front of or behind the camera, but that they are individuals, characters that we recognized from our childhood until now and that have made a delible impression upon us in our lives as we've grown up and what that means for us and hopefully what that can mean for other people. And the first one that we did, I focused on the character Storm. And I mean, sis, you know what that character means to
I
me.
mean, still, it forever means to you. I don't think
You know,
you will ever not feel the way you feel about Storm.
no, no. And trust me, Soulsy in chat, you absolutely want tequila guac. Everybody wants tequila guac. You don't know. You don't know that you want tequila guac until you have tequila guac, and then you're like, how can I have guac any other way? Who knows? Maybe one of these days, now that I actually have a mount for my camera, I might be able to like actually do like a top down and actually make it.
You're gonna do a food
I might do it.
tutorial?
I'm
That so does
first of
not
all,
seem
first of
you're in
all,
your swim lane, bro.
First of all, I can cook.
I
I don't
never
know
I
why.
never never said that you
No,
couldn't.
no, because like, but you say that with like just this tinge of like, I don't know. And I'm just gonna take this
I'm
back.
just saying,
I
I don't think I've
can
ever
cook.
seen you in front of a stove.
You have because I made you dinner many, many a times as you were a child. Many a time.
As an adult, though, I think I've seen your husband cook for you more than you've
Yeah,
cooked
because
for
my husband cooks for me. And my husband's vegetarian. Most of the stuff I know how to cook, he doesn't eat. I can make a pot roast that'll kill you, but he don't eat
death
it.
by pot roast.
And there's only the two of us, so who am I
Right.
making a pot
Okay,
roast
okay,
for? I'm
okay,
not making
fine,
a
fine.
5-pound pot roast for me.
I mean, you
That's a
could.
waste.
I mean, you could.
I mean, but it's a waste. I'm not gonna eat it all.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, you're right,
I
you're
don't do
right.
leftovers, as you well know.
Yes, I
So,
know.
um, one of the things that, we were looking at doing and we ended up not since we're on this cooking tangent, but I will come back to the heroes that look like me. One of the things I was looking at doing was moving into like something like a Hello Fresh or things like that so that we would be able to cook more because it's, difficult to get all the ingredients and all the things that we want in house all the time because of the Rona. My husband's high risk, so I don't let him go out anywhere. And I only go to work and will put gas in my car. That's about as much as I need to keep the tank filled. But unfortunately, most of those prepare it, cook it at home kits,
Mhm.
they assume that either everybody in the house is vegan, everybody in the house is vegetarian, or everybody out in the house is a carnivore. So there's no way for me to do any of them that I've found that will let me be like, oh, ship me a vegetarian dish and a non-vegetarian dish.
Well, I mean, we in my house, we get Hello Fresh every
Mhm.
Wednesday. And right now, like, the only thing that we don't get are the exclusively, like, certain seafoods we don't get.
Mhm.
Because I only like my shrimpies, like shrimp cocktail or like in like a lo mein or in a rice. But like
Mhm.
I don't like
You
to
don't like
prepare them.
shrimp for shrimp's sake.
No, no, I do not. It is
Yep.
not for me.
It's nuts for
Um,
you.
so if we get those meals, like, we would get them and I'd cook them obviously because we bought the meals, but like
Mhm.
they'd all be for my husband. He'd be like, "You're not eating?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
I'm not eating that.
Yeah, and
Um,
and that's the difficulty is, my husband's a vegetarian. He has been for, 30
there's
years now.
Sunbasket, which I think is vegan and vegetarian
Right,
based.
but I'm not vegan nor vegetarian.
I mean,
I
there's
like
nothing
meat,
wrong with
right?
being vegan or
There's
vegetarian,
nothing.
just
There's nothing
to
wrong with it. It's
specify.
just that if I'm doing something, I want a dish for me and a dish for him. I don't wanna just get everything vegetarian and then I have to on extra on top now go out and
Oh, no, and get some chicken? That sounds so hard.
in the days of Rona, it's chicken that I want or to I want because well, no, you don't just want to pick up regular old of per. You kind of want to.
I mean, okay, yeah.
When was it brought in? What does the cut look like? What does the color look
Ha
like? If we're
was
dealing with cut
was this a
meat, I
happy
want
chicken? Did it graze on a hillside before you killed it?
not so much, but I don't want pink chicken
Alright.
coming home. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yes, okay, sure.
So it's not as easy to just be like, oh, I can just go get chicken. I can't just go get chicken.
I mean,
Like my husband is high risk. I haven't been inside of a store
well,
since March.
I just went yesterday
I haven't been in a
with my
store since
mask on,
March.
had a good old time. But anyway, that's
Yeah,
neither here
no,
or there.
that's not
But
my
no,
life.
that might be something you should entertain. I actually really do like the fact that I get that sent to the house, And then, I mean, we have like staples like pasta and stuff like that already
Yeah.
here.
And we have those things, and I cook them. I just made Alfredo sauce the other night because I like to make my own Alfredo. I don't like the jar Alfredo.
No,
I've never.
I think it's
Five Brothers used to make a decent Alfredo, but then they went out of business, so you couldn't have it anymore. Hey, what you gonna do? So I make my own Alfredo. I make it with egg noodles, so that way my husband, who is diabetic, can actually eat it. I do a lot of things with wheat noodles, so I do cook. I just don't cook often because most of
all
the
right.
time my husband cooks because he's a vegetarian, and it's so much easier for me to add some beef or some chicken or some pork to what he's already making than for me to remove said items from the things that I know how
I
to
get
cook
it.
that I
I
enjoy to
get
cook.
it.
So, yeah, I do get in front of the stove. I don't do it often, but I can. Anywho, anyhow, anyway,
Whatever.
um, you're not the only one in the family that can cook. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I know. We
But
come
I
from
will,
a
but I
family
will
of
say this.
chefs.
But I will say this: you are a better baker than I am.
Hell,
I will give you that. I will
did
give
I
you
show
that.
you the apple muffins that I made with
Yeah,
I
you
put those on
did.
my
Yeah, you
Facebook
did.
today?
That's why I say I again, I have no problem saying this. You are a better baker than I am.
You should see the popovers I'm thinking about doing.
Okay. I
But anyway,
messed up.
that's not what we're here to talk about
I
today.
was making like triple chocolate brownies yesterday, and I was so pissed because it was the first time that I was making them in this new pan that I got in my oven here, and my oven here does not remotely cook like my oven at my old
You're gonna have
house.
to. Each stove is like a star in the sky or a snowflake. They're very
So
unique.
I totally overcooked those brownies. I'm so disappointed. So I got to do another batch. Oh damn. But I am disappointed. Anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand because I've really been looking forward to continuing this thread of doing the heroes that look like me because I think that it's really important that especially right now everybody be able to take some moments to pause and think about the people that inspire them and the work that inspires them and to find new ways to be inspired as opposed to exhausted because I think so many of us have been just exhausted over the last 9 months, whether it was the election, the pandemic, the economy. I mean, there are so many things in the world that affect so many of us that have just been exhaustive that I choose to focus on how can I be inspired so that I can find things that give me energy. And so when I was thinking about doing this heroes like me, I found myself reinvigorated again and full of energy because the person that I'm talking about today is one that I don't think until I sat down and really thought about who I would put on my list, I don't think that I really understood just how impactful that this actress has been on my life in ways that I recognize and know, and then also on a subconscious level. And I imagine that it's the same for many, many other people in the world. And I think that it's probably the same can be said for many young Black women. And I say young because I refuse to say that I'm old yet, my age, because she was somebody that we grew up seeing so much of that I can't imagine it any other way. So um and I'm curious because I can run my mouth. So I'm curious, sis, for this particular episode of Heroes That Look Like Me, why did you pick your hero? And then who is your hero? And let's get into it.
All right. Well, the woman I'm talking about today is Octavia Spencer, who I think we've been
Ooh.
seeing more and more of over like I'd say like the last. I'm gonna say at least for me, I've seen her popping up and stuff more and more over the last 6 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and she has a filmography that's established way back in like 1996. So like
Mm-hmm.
she has been working it that
Around the
long.
block.
Right. She's been around. She's been around the way for a
She been
while.
putting in time. She been putting
But
in time.
but I've just noticed that all of a sudden I'm seeing bigger doses of her in TV and like she's running the gambit, which I actually really 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 like. And I think the reason why I gravitate towards her in particular is because when I look at her filmography and I look at all the roles that they have her credited as, I feel like if I'd pursued my dreams of acting, which both of us had it for a while,
Yup.
and we both had dreams of being actresses. I mean, I think I was leaning more towards Broadway, particularly. But
Yes, you're definitely
more
much
of a
more in
Broadway
the
baby.
theater. Mm-hmm.
But when I look at it, I imagine that her history would be the type of career I would have wanted or I would have strived to have had. So like I get to vicariously live my actor life through this wonderful actress. So it's just like, yeah, I could see all of that being the type of stuff that I would be vying for as an actress if I had gone down that route. So it just resonates in a way that I'm like, yes. Not that I understand what her choices were, one, going after some of these roles or obviously being, selected for these, but it feels like something I would have aspired to do. So
Okay.
it just felt natural.
Okay, so let's dig into it a little bit, right? Because I think, at least for me, Octavia Spencer as a choice for you is a bit surprising to me.
Why?
And the reason why I say
I'm
that
so
is,
surprised that you think that.
I know, so this is why we're getting into it. This is why we're having this conversation. And the reason why I say that is when I think about, Octavia's work, the stuff that I've seen, so not her full discography, because I don't know her full discography and full filmography, whichever you want to focus on. But when I think about, where most people know Octavia from and the roles that she has been in, they're not necessarily lead roles. Many of them are supporting places.
Yep.
There have been few places where the character that she has portrayed has been your typical romantic lead or even supportive romantic
I
lead,
mean,
right?
very much. I think a lot of the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
she has definitely been far more of a background
Mm-hmm.
character, but there have been some breakouts that
Right.
she's
And
had, and I think
and
those are fairly recent.
the breakout ones are, I mean, when you think about, Ma as an
Yeah,
example, I know
and
watch
that's
it. I know watch it.
I
I'm
did
aware of it. I know watch it.
that one. I was like,
Um,
look at you jumping into this genre that is totally out of left field for you, and like
I'm sure she rocked it though.
like in all honesty, once again, and I feel like I always go back to this movie, but like Taraji P Henson in that word I can't say, acronymony,
Acrimony.
acrimony.
Acrimony. It's like alimony, but Akron, Ohio. Acrimony.
Okay, fine. The really mad movie, and 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 Ma.
Like, you don't even attempt it though, even when I
Nah,
give you like the
nah.
here's how you say it.
No, because
I
you know
love that
what?
about you.
We've done this before. We've done this dance before back on Esh when it came down to the
Yep.
Chevalier del Dion. Not the, and I don't have an accent, guys. I cannot do accents or languages to save my life. I'm
Chevalier. Chevalier. Why is that so hard?
just I can't. Like I switched my freaking Rosetta Stone to French because I want to learn French. And
Okay.
yeah, and I keep getting corrected on my pronunciation because I don't got it. I don't have it, but it doesn't matter.
Chevalier. All
No.
right. Okay.
No. Not today.
And this is
Anyway,
how you can tell she's not Haitian.
no. Nope, I am not.
Not in there.
But at, but when I compare these two movies that definitely have
Mhm.
elements of like, I mean, Ma is meant to be is a horror movie, and the other movie, the angry movie,
Acrimony.
Acrimony, definitely is also in its own way a horror movie, but I also think it's kind of like a social commentary on that angry black woman stereotype brought to that place. I think brought to a place that people think it always goes. And it's like, oh no, the anger that you see is very shallow compared to the anger that generally some may have, because I am not standing on a soapbox talking for all Black women everywhere.
Right.
Sorry, that's not me.
It's not our place.
I'm not the poster woman for all Black women. Just
we are not the ones.
So I don't want to be like, we're all like this, because no, that's generalization and that's wrong. But it hits notes and I'm like, yep, I have felt that before. I've had tinges of that before. I've gotten that darkened thoughts before. I mean, I'm not rich and I haven't, like, broken onto my ex-husband's boat and then tried to murder him and his new wife.
Yeah, definitely haven't done that.
Haven't had those thoughts, never had those murder fantasies, but some people do.
I mean, one, you don't even have an ex-husband who has a boat. So
I mean, right. And my current husband doesn't have a boat.
Yeah. So, I mean,
right. Right. Don't have to ever worry about murdering an ex-husband or husband for a boat.
I guess to get to the reason why that I'm surprised when, because I don't want to say that I know you, but I kind of know you.
I mean, I am your baby sister, so.
I mean, I've known you all your damn life.
I mean, I've been around for all your life. So
mean, all your damn life, right? And there are certain things that, as far as like your aesthetic tendencies for the things you tend to be attracted to, whether they're, in your entertainment, you have definitely some.
Yes, please tell me about me.
No, I mean, but you do, like, there's certain, we all have those things, right? Those certain things that are just like, that's our shit, right? It just, rain, sun, sleet, snow, doesn't matter. This is going to be your shit.
Yes.
Right. And so when it comes to, for as long as I've known you, the actors that you tend to gravitate towards, the ones that you tend to talk about a lot, that you go out of your way to see their stuff, absorb it, that you pimp out to your friends, Octavia Spencer isn't one of those.
That's really surprising, because I've been talking a lot about her probably for like the last 3 months.
Right.
Anytime I'm watching something that has her in there, I'm like, oh my God, she's so stunning. Oh my God. I'm glad that she's getting her time in the sun and all that
stuff. Those
stuff.
aren't conversations that you and I are having.
No, but we're having it today.
So this is why this is surprising to me.
Surprise! There's a box on your door. Surprise!
It's Amazon.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I could have pivoted and talked about like Viola Davis or Kerry Washington.
But see, these are also ones that, like, for me.
Where do you think I would have gone then?
So I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect anybody recent.
Oh, okay.
And so, because these are all, like, the three that you just mentioned, those are all fairly recent.
Yeah. And
right?
I mean, yes.
Recent. Okay. Viola, really, as far as things that you have been able to get access to and see. Octavia Spencer, Viola Davis, and Kerry Washington. These are all people that have really surfaced in things for you within the last 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Easily. And so that's recent.
Yes.
So, when we talked about, heroes that look like me, we were really focusing on, like, okay, leaving an imprint from, like, our childhood and formative years and things like that.
Well, here's the thing, though, because I mean, looking at other actresses from before these canon 3, and I mean, I'll even throw Taraji P. Henson in there, because I also talk a lot about her. Yes. But they're all still very new school. You're absolutely right. I mean, if I was going to talk about someone who was influential growing up, it would probably be Queen Latifah.
See, and so that's why I say surprising to me, because on 2 levels. Because 5 years ago for you is very different than 5 years ago for me, because there is, the difference in our age. And so 5 years ago.
Exactly 5 years.
is still very, still informative young woman adult time for you.
Yes, very true. But no, and I mean, I'm not putting down my Queen Latifah love, because
and I'm not either
for her. But I think going back to heroes that look like me, like the closest thing I think I had to me growing up was Queen Latifah, up until we got I'm gonna butcher her name, from Push by Sapphire. Precious.
Are
Yeah.
you about to say Gabourey Sidibe?
Yes. And I mean, and
But
that's
you weren't gonna say it because you were
because I
gonna
was
mess
gonna
it up.
butcher it. Right. Um, exactly. See, you're simpatico. We're like right here. Um,
So again, I'm gonna say that both of these are really surprising to me, but
then I'd like
go
to
ahead.
know who else, because
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
like,
No, no, no. Here's again, here's why. So let me get them all the way out. So as far as timing goes, right? It's just very interesting to me because I think that one, it shows very much illustrates very much the difference between our ages.
okay,
And it's also interesting to me what heroes who look like me, how that resonates with you in uh I think a deeper way than I expected it to, which I
okay.
love. I'm this is not like any kind of like, oh really? That's like no.
I know you
It's
ain't judging me
surprising.
because when these are all
No.
like high
This is
caliber.
this is not a judgment. This is a really interesting like, oh, I am surprised and I want to dig into this more and get like deep into these nuggets because these are unexpected nuggets, especially because every single person that you have mentioned is a dark-skinned woman.
Yes. Yep.
And for
And
someone
and for if anyone can't notice, I'm not
no,
exactly dark,
but
dark.
and so they're surprising me, and this is why I want to get deeper into these nuggets of these heroes that look like me and how they are heroic for you, because I know that blackness has been, and defining your own blackness has been a journey for you. And
Still fucking
y-
is.
yeah,
Still is. Still is.
I'm trying to be nice and tactful
No, no,
about
no.
this.
And I get it and I appreciate it. But I mean, there's an elephant in the
And
room.
so
And I
that's
mean,
why they're surprising me, because like I'm going down this list and I'm like, huh, huh, oh, you don't say. Well, hmm. Well, let's get into this.
well, so I mean,
So let's
so let
start.
me put
Let's start with Octavia Spencer. Why is she a hero to you?
so just I mean, going through the grind, which I mean, if you look at any of these actresses and you look at them on paper, like they've all gone through the Hollywood machine. Like, get my foot in the door. Whatever roles I can get that they're not
Mhm,
going to immediately typecast me. And even if they are, picking which ones they would permit themselves to allow to be typecasted for.
mhm,
And going through that grind and going through
mhm,
that hustle day in and day out. And I mean, and it seems like every actor on the face of the planet has a, I've struggled story. And I mean,
mhm.
and I'm not trying to be sassy about that when I say that, because I
Right,
mean, life is a struggle. So therefore,
absolutely. For every person
everybody's
that
got a struggle story,
makes it, there are 100 that don't.
so I mean, I think for me, Octavia Spencer actually kind of is the opposite of Queen Latifah, because when I look at their filmographies, they also kind of had similar beats in terms of the type of roles that they looked at. So I feel like
Okay,
Octavia Spencer is my Queen Latifah of now to my Queen
okay.
Latifah back then. And I mean, out of all of them, I think Queen Latifah is probably one of the fairer ones that I've mentioned. I mean, Kerry
Mhm,
Washington and her, and then you've got your Viola Davis and your Octavia Spencer, kind of on the darker side of
mhm.
the scale. And I
The
mean,
highly melanated.
right. And I mean, and I think that she's very much a hero, because I think a lot of the characters that she tends to play in a lot of, at least TV, not TV,
Mhm,
more like movies, she always
mhm,
seems like that supportive character in the background that people don't fully look at. Like, she's not your protag, she's not your
mhm,
foil,
mhm,
she's not your rival, she's not your villain. But she always
mhm.
tends to always be in the background and always tends to outshine.
Okay.
Always. Like in The Shape of Water, which I don't know if you saw or you didn't
Yes.
see.
Yes.
Like, and I mean, in that
The Shape
movie,
of Water is probably one of my it is in my top 10 favorite movies.
like it I think that movie one just speaks to a whole lot of aspects of me that, one, I wasn't expecting to get in a movie.
And
Um
like Shamalama Ding Dong movie?
Well, I mean, in a, and I mean, Guillermo del Toro is just like, master. And I mean, and we could sit here and talk about monster movies and coding and how monsters in old
Yes.
movies are
Mhm.
effectively the other and black
And
folk.
there will be an episode where we do that.
I mean, that's a thing. But I mean,
Mhm.
like, even in that movie, like with her character, like I think the man monster, like the evil man, who I can't remember what his name is now, like he was like, the fact that she is, not from a big family, and like, is cleaning with the female protagonist. He's like, shouldn't you have more family members than this? Like playing, like making the obvious, like, you're not normal for what my expectation of what you is.
Mhm.
And I'm like, and I imagine when they approached if they approached her for this, like if she got to read that line, like, oh, so like this is not like oh, I have like 8 different kids and I'm a mammy on a stoop, and I'm no, like
Mm.
she's a solitary woman,
Yep.
very small family, like breaking through those stereotypes that movies and media have always kind of portrayed as a staple.
Right.
So like it was just moving to me. And I mean, I think for me personally, even though I seem to have a very big personality, no, I have a big personality, but I kind of tamper it down because not too many people are ready to handle all of this at one time. I know I'm not.
You have a big personality when you're comfortable with the group that you're around.
Right. But I mean, and I feel like a lot of her characters are very much that. Like she's observing, she's quiet. Not that she keeps her head down, like she's not subservient. She's just careful.
So then I guess, is it that the characters that she chooses to play are heroes that look like you, or
Yeah,
Octavia herself?
I think she tends to portray
Okay.
what I internally feel is very, very uh relatable to me. Is
Okay.
very, very much like a portrayal of my type of person in these
Okay.
worlds. So like whenever
Okay.
I tend to see her on screen, I often tend to see, I'm like, yeah, I could see that being like me.
Okay.
I could totally see myself being a mother, to, not I wouldn't Stockholm syndrome my kid or like misery my kid, like in Ma, mind you. But
Yeah.
like I could totally see myself, living a life and being vindictive, because I admitted I've got vindictive tendencies.
I mean,
I
we
I
all
I've done some shit. Who hasn't? But like that long game in Ma, which if you've never seen, like she got bullied in school and like slinked off to the shadows and wreaks havoc on all of the popular kids from her time in school on all of their kids.
Mhm.
Like doesn't kill them. Like I don't think she kills that many people in Ma, and the ones that she does kill are all the popular kids who are now adults. Like it took her a while, but she exacts her revenge in a
Yeah.
way that like has sowed discourse into
I
each of their
didn't
family
I didn't
units.
see that
Like it's
movie,
it's
so
it's it's a long
spoilers.
it's a long con. It's a long game.
I
I
mean,
mean, it was
but
all at a matter of chance, also, by the way, because like if she had never encountered, the young kids trying to get the booze to go drink it on a rock, like the movie would not have happened. Like this was very much a happenstance, flight of passion, moment of insanity, maybe.
okay, so I don't really wanna go, like, too deep into the movie because
No,
then
no,
this
no,
becomes,
no, no,
like,
no.
the
But
movie
if
review.
you wanted to watch it, you could. But all of her characters always seem to be in the background, and then slowly through the course of the beats of the movie, becoming more and more forward.
Okay.
That's the part that resonates with being like a hero to me, because heroes are not always front and center. Heroes
Right.
are not always the person always rushing in first moment's notice at a hero, like I think
Mhm.
I've said before, doesn't always wear capes.
Right.
Like the presence alone of her being there is a big thing. And not to mention, like, she a heavy set girl. I'm a thick girl with 3 C's. Like
Mm.
maybe two and a half
All these
C's.
C's.
Like
I have 3.
so like I'm like two and a half. Two and a half, maybe 2 C's now, but like in Hollywood you don't often see a lot of body type representation. And
Mhm.
like we're seeing a lot of that now.
Mhm.
but even in that, like, gotta be like a Coke bottle, kind of have to be like a Nicki Minaj type where like
You
you've
have to
really
be an
cinched her.
ingenue. You have to be under a certain
and
age. You
she
have to
and
be
she's
under a
not.
certain weight.
And
You
she's
have to
and she
be
her Viola Davis,
closer.
they've all are past that and killing it. So like these women are all effectively heroes that look like me, because here they are breaking barriers
Mm-hmm.
to make not only brown okay, but make, thick okay, and to make, mom bodies or grandma, like not the like granny bodies, but like, we're breaking the body barriers here. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're challenging norms in a way that, like, oh my god, we have a female black horror character. I think this is really kind of one of the first ones outside of like blaxploitation films
Mm-hmm.
that we've really kind of had in a long time. And I mean, not the best one, but we got one. We have a place to build from here.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, honestly, I think if they put Viola Davis in it, it probably would have been a stronger movie. But it's okay. But I'm glad it
Look,
happened.
Viola
Representation.
can't be in everything.
I know.
Okay? She
I
can't be in
know.
everything.
So,
As much as one may want that.
but no, so I think it's just a matter of her grind just feels so, it just resonates with me in a way that I'm like, you go girl. Like if it can't be me, it best be you, kind of deal.
So then I guess in this instance, it's not necessarily Octavia herself and the
Well, I mean,
work
I love her in everything that she's in, but I think what she represents to me is more of the hero.
of that's what I was trying
She
to get
she
to.
she is the vessel in which my hero manifests itself.
Okay, yeah. And
If
see,
that makes
that's what I
sense.
was trying to get to because, initially the reason why I was so taken aback when you said Octavia Spencer was going to be, your hero that looked like you that you were going to focus on for the episode, I was like, I don't know that you really know Octavia.
I mean, I the movie that really kind of brought her to the forefront for me was obviously The Help, because like that was such a
Mhm.
big, like, oh my god,
It's the
everybody,
one
you
that
have to read The Help,
most
you have to read the book, you got to read the book after the movie. And she made a pie and put shit in it, and she fed a shit pie, like that. Like come on, sis. She made a pie
so
with shit
I feel like
and fed it to
it's
somebody.
it's not a popular opinion,
I mean, it's
but
not. It's not.
I haven't even shared my opinion yet.
Oh,
Can
but
I?
I mean, I was talking about my opinion, but that's fine.
Right.
Yes,
Well,
what's your
I'm now
opinion?
talking about mine.
Okay, go ahead.
That's how this goes.
Right.
You talk and then I talk, and then you talk and then I talk.
Your turn.
Okay. So the unpopular opinion that I am going to share is that I really did not like The Help.
Okay.
And the main reason that I didn't like The Help is because I felt that too many people focused on the wrong things in the movie and took away
The
not the
wrong things?
messages that it was trying to get across in the book.
Okay.
Okay. Like the focus on the shit pie.
I mean,
Which don't get me wrong, that shit's funny. Don't get me wrong.
that shit was
That
literally
shit
funny.
was literally funny. Okay. But if you walk away from the movie and you focus on, that being the vengeful thing and getting, the gratification in that and
I mean, I just thought
less
it was
focus.
ballsy. Like, I would never make a pie and put shit in it. But
Yes, you would.
no, I wouldn't. No,
Yes,
I
you would.
wouldn't. No, I
Yes, you
wouldn't.
would.
I'd
You
talk
would.
about it, but I wouldn't actually do it. There's a
Yeah,
difference.
you would talk about it. You would write about it. You would journal about it. You would draw up
I
the
would
plan.
purposely
You
leave
would
notes
do.
to make people think that I was going
You
to
would
do it, and
make the
then
box that you would put the pie that had the shit in it, but you just wouldn't make the pie
I wouldn't
anyway.
make the pie.
As I was getting to, but people seem to focus on those things as opposed to doing the work to focus on. Well, let's talk about the inequality things that are actually brought up in this book. Let's actually focus on, the oppressive things that are brought up in this space. We're talking about, for fuck's sake, being the help, not actually being
A
named
person.
valued people. Like those are the things that I really
I
wanted
took a look.
people.
I read the book before I watched the movie.
And I love you for that because I read the book. I didn't see the movie because I read the book. And as I saw the trailers for the movie, I realized, oh my gosh, here we go. We are
We're literally getting a revenge fantasy for anyone who's ever felt like the
and we're
help.
not focusing on it. Just felt like it wasn't focusing on the things that I thought made the book absolutely amazing and why I enjoyed it. Um and so my surprise in you saying Octavia, my first thought was, okay, so is this coming from a place of this is someone whose career that now I have been watching, and the whole going from being a actress to selectively, picking the pieces to work on in order to do more producing, get to a place to be directing? Like, is it the business acumen fighting through the entertainment industry that you gravitated towards and resonated with, and that's what you find heroic? Or is it in the selection of work and the characters that they play? Because I think it's really interesting when you're focused on the entertainment industry and we start to idolize or put on a pedestal or create heroes out of actors and celebrities. It's always interesting to see to me where people focus, if they focus more on the characters that they play and as they know them, and or the actual individual behind the characters.
I
And
mean,
that's why I was surprised, because I felt like both, in all honesty, whichever one you were coming from, were still relatively new.
new.
And what interested me about that was that I started thinking, okay, because, I was doing my own research for my own hero to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And I learned a bunch of things that I didn't know, but they make so much fucking sense. Um, but I was like, when I looked at when Octavia Spencer started to really come into mainstream, which in all honesty is when you and I tend to become aware of people, unless we find them through a niche friend that's like, hey, you
Yep.
got to check this out, and we do it. It's like many people, we discover them when they hit the mainstream. So there's years and years of work that we're not aware of, and then we go back and we try to find and consume when we start to fall in love with someone or their
Hmm.
work, right?
Right.
And so when I started to do my research and I looked at, just Octavia Spencer, when I realized like the first thing that hit mainstream, like you said, for you would be The Help. When that came out, you know, you were just coming into your 30s.
In 1996? Nah, dude.
No, The Help wasn't in
No, no,
96.
no, 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 no. Nope. I was going back through her filmography because her first thing was 1996, which
Yeah, no. I'm
I
saying
was
the
still
first
in
mainstream thing
middle
that
school
you saw
then.
was probably The Help.
But it's funny because some of the other movies that she has been in, I have also watched. So
Mm-hmm.
once The Help hit, and I was like, oh, here's this lady, and then like I'm kind of curious, like what else has she possibly been in? Time to Kill, she was in that. I
Yep.
watched that.
Mm-hmm.
Never Been Kissed, which I mean, I most times you watch that for Hallie, what's her name, from It, blonde, Drew Barrymore. There it is. That took me a second. But she was also in Being John Malkovich, which is a
Mm-hmm.
movie that I loved so much. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, where were you? So like I kind of went on a
Mm-hmm.
Where's Waldo because here are all these
Yep.
other movies that I have watched that she was
Mm-hmm.
there. And like I said, like slowly through all these big ones that I remember watching, I'm like, that's why I didn't see her. And like I just noticed
Mm-hmm.
her becoming kind of more and more in focus down
Mm-hmm.
a
Down
line
the line.
until boom.
Mainstream hit,
Yeah.
right?
So it's just like, you've been here this whole time. It's like me, I've been here this whole time. Like there's a weird pseudo brain parallel thing that was
Mhm,
happening, me going back and backtracking through this. And like I said, I feel like she's just currently the vessel in which my hero, like it's really a thought. My hero is more of a
mhm,
thought
mhm,
that just happens to be very present in her to me right now. And I mean, it's very similar to Queen Latifah, because I
mhm,
mean, Queen Latifah's done Broadway, which, like I said
mhm,
earlier on, very much thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be the Broadway baby of our family. I thought I was going to go
mhm.
live in New York and like live on
I
ramen.
thought I was gonna do choreo, and then I messed up my ankle.
So, so like, but I mean, like, and this woman, Queen Latifah. earlier on was breaking a lot of those barriers because, like, in terms of TV and stuff, like she was on
Mm-hmm.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a thicker girl that Will was not all about. Like, he was just friend zoning her because she wasn't super fly to him, even though she was cool. And I'm like, yep, know what that's like, lady. Yep, story of my life. Like, and then later on, I think I see Queen Latifah in Chicago, and I'm like, yes, mama.
Yeah, see, you made some jumps
And
there
then
because,
and
like,
then
there's
there
things
was
in
Set It Off,
between.
which kind of,
Look,
Set
there's
It Off
things in between.
gave me
Because Set It
so
Off
many
was
things.
before Chicago, but
I
before she got there, I mean, there's just so many things. There's so many
but
things.
I'm just
We have
saying,
all
like, Queen
kinds of love
Latifah
for
has
Dana.
hit beats for me. Like,
Mhm.
Set It Off, I'm like, damn, Black women can be fine. It's like, you can
Mhm.
take care of me, Queen Latifah. You could blow some shit up for me.
Yep.
You could do that. Thank you.
Mhm.
That movie
Mhm.
for sure. So, like,
Mhm.
there's I think they've both kind of are both sides of the same hero coin for me,
Mhm.
for similar reasons.
Well, I would love to, as we continue this topic in our series of podcasts, I would love to, just spend some time on Queen Latifah because I think you and I could do an entire episode just on her, and
Oh,
we would come from
easily.
different perspectives. But I think it'd be really interesting to do that dive. So we'll stick a pin in that because we will definitely come back to that one because you pick up Queen Latifah more on the acting side,
I
and
do, yeah.
I pick her up more on trailblazing in hip hop as a female artist, where there weren't many to begin with, and holding her own, and then making that switch into acting and theater
I mean, do
and
you put her in the
that.
same bucket as, like, Spinderella,
Hell
Missy,
no.
before that?
Way before that.
Okay, you don't need to get aggressive. I was just
Yeah, I
asking the
do.
question.
Yeah, I do. Yes, and as a matter
I
of
was
fact, I
just
do.
asking a question.
Wow. Okay, so
Different
yeah, no, you
Guess we
don't.
know what we're talking about next tribunal, damn.
Yeah, we do. Ladies first.
Ladies
Man
first.
the fuck up. Look it up.
Okay, okay,
Holy
okay.
shit.
Anyway,
Okay, so
damn.
wow.
Button push.
Yeah.
Triggered.
Triggered. I need an animation and I need a way to trigger it on this platform so I can just be like triggered and just have it like come across. But not this platform.
Me
Hopefully
being
one.
internally screaming.
Yeah, internally screaming. Just, a Martin face that comes up and be like, "Damn, Gina." Which would be accurate, except we would get copy stricken. So
Yeah.
we can't do that.
But anyway, so
I'll
I
just
think we
say
spent
it.
a lot of time talking about me and my hero in my space, but
We didn't
we
spend a
have
lot of time. We spent the right amount of time talking about
but
your
I
hero.
think it's
So I'm gonna
time for
put
a pivot because I feel like your hero,
pivot.
which I'm aware of your hero, like,
Yeah, duh.
obviously. I mean, if I'm not, then I should just give up my black card right now.
I mean,
Like, let me pull it out of my wallet right quick. But
look. In the past, I have been, and I own this.
very
I
quick, you
have
like
been
give that back.
very quick to take black points from people.
I mean, primarily me.
But no, I've many people. I've taken black points from many people. Even not black people.
I mean,
I've been
okay,
like, but you should have known that. So
give
you're
me
now
that.
really, you're negative black points now. Fix your life.
Whoa.
Um, and I need to be better about that. I'm working on it. So I'm
Okay.
trying to be much more liberal in the givingeth of black points as opposed to the takingeth away of black points.
Okay.
Because I'm also not the, harbinger of blackness. Okay,
Right.
I've had my own blackness challenged. I've challenged my own blackness myself, right? So for me, when I think of heroes that look like me, I always go to a place of first and foremost, if I'm going to give somebody that moniker of hero, there are a couple of things that have to happen. Or at least in my book, I feel like there are a couple of things that for me to feel comfortable in calling this person a hero, that they have to have achieved in some way, right? And it's not just the notoriety, although notoriety is important, and it's got to be notoriety for the right reason, right? It's got to be positive to me. again, because these are just my opinions, my thoughts. But for me, a hero that looks like me is it's positivity, it's notoriety, it's that they have been able to, at some point in time in their career, use their platform to reach back and pull somebody else forward or many other people forward, or that they have in somehow, some way inspired me in my life, and that it's something that I carry with me for a long period of time. So I don't think it's surprising if I say that my hero that looks like me that I picked for this episode is Felicia Rashad. And
Queen.
hashtag that. Um, but it's kind of funny. We sit here and we talk about how, both of us thought as children somehow we were going to end up in the entertainment industry. You thought you were going to theater. I thought I was going to be a choreographer. Like, dance was my thing. And you couldn't keep me from dancing. I could kind of carry a tune in a bucket, but I knew that was never the thing. I thought it was always going to be dance. I went to different dance schools, and it broke my heart when I had one of my contemporary dance instructors like break it down to me during a practice one time that I could never be pro because I was too curvy and too short. And on the professional side, they always wanted dancers to be, 5'8", 5'9", especially on the female side. Some curves are great, but not a lot of curves. And so she's like, so you're not going to make it if that's what you want to do. So this should really be a hobby for you, but don't think it's going to be something else. And she was like, and I'm only telling you this because I don't want you to be heartbroken.
So let me break your heart now so that you won't have to break it
And
yourself later.
I was, when I say I was crestfallen. I
Oh,
was
oh, you don't
crestfallen.
need to tell me.
Okay.
I
And
had very similar experiences. I mean,
and
I think on the opposite side though, because I mean, I
mm,
was always getting encouraged up. I was getting encouraged from everybody else but home.
and so I like let that go. I stopped, giving a damn about gymnastics. I stopped, trying to do all the dance classes and things like that. So then I was going to be a lawyer because I was like, I like money. But then
Who doesn't?
but
Bitch,
then
who
that didn't.
doesn't? I mean, I was often told, like when I went through my first bit of college, because I went to school for criminal justice. I also have a secondary degree in secondary education, so I was like, oh, if I ever stop deciding to be a lawyer, I can go teach criminology to like a high school, which was my thought.
Mhm,
But I literally got told from all of my professors because most of my finals were like mock trials, like,
mhm.
and they were always court cases that my professors had actually done, so
Mhm.
they knew the outcome of
They
the
knew the
case.
outcome. Mhm,
So like if you did a good job and you got to the same conclusion that they did, or maybe even better, you got a better grade. And I
mhm.
mean, I did fairly well in those, and all of them always said on their cue cards like either you're going to be an amazing lawyer or you're going to play a great one on TV.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know, because like
Yep.
either I will be a good lawyer or I'll act like a good lawyer. Like,
Mhm.
eh.
Yep.
So, but yep, I've been
Yep.
there for
Then I was
sure.
gonna be a lawyer, and then I realized that actually I didn't wanna, screw over working class folks, and in order to make the money, that's the kind of law that you really have to go into is
I'm not
corporate
great
law.
at lying, so I don't I
Yeah,
could
you
not.
can't.
I'm
Mm-mm.
not great at it.
You
So
suck at
I
lying.
could not sit in a room with someone who's like, "Yeah, I murdered my wife and now you have to prove that I didn't." Like, "Nah,
Yeah.
you did it though.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
told me you did it."
Right.
And I was like, "Ooh, maybe
Um,
environmental law." Nope, no money
no.
there. Nope.
No. No, that's anti-money. So, getting back to Felicia Rashad, what was surprising to me was I didn't realize, and I don't know why I didn't realize, that she started in theater. Again, for me, the thing that I remember seeing her in first which I think for many people was the mainstream The Cosby Show.
Yep. That's where I saw her.
But when I started to do my research about her, and believe you me, I'm going to talk about Claire Huxtable, because Claire Huxtable, that character, the way that she was written and the way that Felicia Rashad delivered that character absolutely impacted the woman that I am today. And I think in many ways, it's very easy to see now if you know about that character and the woman, right? So when I did my research, one, I didn't know, and so I'm going to guess that you didn't know, sis,
I probably don't.
that, and I'm going to get my notes because I want to make sure I do not mess this up. But Felicia Rashad was the first Black woman to win a Tony for Best Actress in a Play.
What play was she in?
She was in Raising in the Sun.
Hell, fuck! I should have known. Should have known.
Okay, and she played Lena Younger, so the mother.
Yep, I
Right?
read that. I read Raisin in the Sun.
I read it. I've seen Raisin performed a couple of times, and she reprised her role when they did the revival of it, the one that Diddy was in like 10 years ago.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I remember when Diddy was on Broadway.
Okay, so there was that. Look, what I will say about Diddy being on Broadway is it made him a better entertainer.
I agree. Theater will change your life if you let
If
it.
if
you
you
let
actually buy in and do the work,
right? Yes,
you will be better.
You will be better. Absolutely.
Okay, but so I did know that she went to Howard. So that I did know. I didn't know that she was born in Houston. And I didn't know that she was an AKA.
Oh. Sis. Well, I mean, I didn't know that either, but damn. Okay.
Okay, so things are starting to come into focus. Right? In ways that I didn't understand, right? Okay.
Okay.
So I started looking at, her career in theater, and another one that surprised me. And I was like, how did I not know this? And then I was like, well, because you were 9, bitch.
Right. 9-year-old, you can't, don't.
In 1988, she took over for Bernadette Peters the role of the witch in Into the Woods.
Shut up.
No, I will not.
Does she have the same kind of chops as Bernadette Peters?
She has chops. Did you know that Felicia Rashad had the chops? No. I didn't know that she had the chops. She has the chops.
Wait,
she was Cheryl Lee Ralph's girl. Wait, she was Cheryl Lee Ralph's understudy for Dreamgirls. And she left the company.
I'm shook.
Be shooketh. I was shooketh. She left the company after when Cheryl Lee Ralph announced that she was going to be leaving. She wasn't picked, even though she was Cheryl Lee's understudy. She wasn't picked to become her main replacement. So she was like, actually, I know what I'm worth. So deuces, I'm out. Okay. Like queen. Okay. So, and this was all unbeknownst to me. I had no idea. Like Cheryl Lee Ralph has been.
I mean, actually, now that you bring that up, like I knew that Felicia Rashad had ties to theater only because I know she, along with like Denzel Washington and several other prominent of color actors, would kind of sponsor up and coming actors to go to like Oxford or to go to,
yeah, like we know about the Chadwick one. She actually mentored Chadwick because he went to Howard. Like she went to Howard. She's given back to Howard in a multitude of HBCUs all throughout her career. But for me, again, my introduction to Felicia Rashad first was The Cosby Show and A Different World. And then I started to notice her in other things. Like I remember that I saw her on Reading Rainbow.
Yep.
And I know that she was on Murder, She Wrote. I'm really dating myself, but hey, I
love me Murder, She Wrote. Angela Lansbury with her typewriter and her cup of tea.
Angela Lansbury is also a queen.
I'm gonna sip my tea in solidarity.
I said it. I said it. But
And I do legit have tea in here.
I mean, that's good. I legit have Sneak Tropicilla. Hashtag not sponsored. I just like it. Because it helps me drink more water. But for me, for Felicia Rashad, I just remember the character of Claire Huxtable, watching that character when I was young, because it was the first time on TV that I recalled ever seeing a beautiful Black woman in a leading role. And people may argue this, but we can. But I would argue in a leading role, because Cliff Huxtable always took the back seat to his wife. And I think that that was the beauty of the dynamic of that couple, was that Claire led and Cliff went along and he supported her. And then after they dealt with whatever the issue was, then you saw the two of them have whatever discussion they were having. But whenever they were dealing with the kids, if Claire took the lead, Cliff would always be like, listen to your mother. And I respected that. But really what I respected so much was Claire Huxtable. Because again, this show started in what, 80, 86, 80, yeah, like late 80s, ran
I
into
was
like
possibly
90.
2
Okay.
or 1.
Right? But it was the first time that I saw a beautiful Black woman on TV who was smart, strong, vulnerable, feminist, and still feminine. I had not seen that before. And now I had it regularly in my home every single week with a family that could have been my family.
I mean, throw some cousins in there.
You know, I mean,
For
our
posterity.
dad was not an obstetrician.
I mean, no, I doubt he could have spelled obstetrician, but I also can't spell
I mean,
it, so.
he would have eventually done
He
it.
would have got there.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He
Love you,
would have.
Dad.
Right? Nor was our mother a lawyer.
No.
We did not live in a brownstone.
Nope. We had brownstone CDs, though.
We had brownstone CDs because 5 Miles to Empty is, I think, their best cover. Anyway, but it was important for me to see that I could be that Black women like that existed in the world, because the examples of Black women that I had before the Cosby Show really were few and far between, other than the actual Black women in my life. And so I didn't have the representation. I think that so many people, in all honesty, a little bit still take for granted right now that you have an entertainment. And it was right at the end of that you then had like the burst of Black shows and entertainment in mainstream that were not exploitative. You know, you had The Different World, you had Living Single, you had Martin that popped up, but you don't get those series if you don't have The Cosby Show happen.
I mean, and then even beyond that, without those, you wouldn't have gotten Moesha, you wouldn't have gotten Sister Sister, you wouldn't have gotten, I'm trying to remember
Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I
Cooper.
mean, there's so many that, you know, that came after that you don't get if you don't have this one. But like there are that character and the way that Felicia Rashad portrayed that character, like that felt like an extra mom. And it shouldn't be surprising because the NAACP gave her the moniker of being the mother of the Black community, right? And later on, she got the moniker of being America's mom, because that's how people, you know, came to feel about her. And anytime I would see her interviewed, because I would literally, like, I would seek out, like, if Oprah was having her on, or I'm really gonna date myself here, but Donahue like had her on, like I made sure that I was like homesick that day so I could watch it, because I was just so enthralled by that character and this woman that I wanted to know more about this woman. I love the way that Claire Huxtable carried herself, and that was because that is the way that Felicia Rashad portrayed her. And as she did other projects, I sought them out. I remember I've distinctly texted you when I found out that she was going to be on Empire.
Yep. Oh yeah, I still have that text on my phone.
Okay. Like
I loved her in Empire up until the last season because
Mhm.
they kind of threw them in there, but then that family did like absolutely nothing. Like I think they were just like
Well,
we're
I think the
I
problem with that is that they had plans for the
right. I think
family
there was
involvement and things like that, and then,
stuff
Justin
happened.
Smollett went, "Whoop, whoop,
Yeah, so they were
put
like,
that in the
yeah,
recording."
we're gonna have to pull back this plot now.
Yeah, and
I
I think
think
that that's really what happened and
I
what
think you're
killed.
absolutely right, but I absolutely loved her in that. And I mean, like I keep saying queen, but like literally even in that, she was always there was always dignity, there was always class, there was always this air of, and it's not, and her character obviously had a lot of that, but I think it was still very grounded in her
Mhm.
in that also. So like, you know, you understood her motivations. Like it was never, even if things got kind of down and dirty, and even then she was playing by these particular rules. So even within those rules, it was still very high brow, high thought, high execution in
Mhm.
all of it. So you're like, damn.
And
Like
I
that's a stone cold B right there. Like she got it. She got it in her pocket. She got it in her pocketbook. She got it on her Louboutins. Like she got it. Period.
and and that's the thing that I think, in all honesty, right? That's part of the reason why Felicia Rashad is such a hero to me because, after I saw her in the Cosby Show, I wanted to know more about this amazing, elegant woman, and I wanted to be like that. And I think that, in all honesty, that's the reason why because I almost remember it like it was yesterday, was after I started watching the Cosby Show, I became much more aware of my mannerisms. I became much more aware of how I enunciated things and how I didn't, because as you may or may not recall, at such a young age, I used to mumble a lot
No, I don't
because
recall
I,
this.
I I'm actually an introverted person. I tell
What?
people all the time,
Really?
legit, legit, I am. And people don't believe me when I say it, but I'm like, no, I am actually an introvert stuck in an extrovert's body, is the way that it works out. But I was very quiet, very to myself. And so when I would speak, I didn't make eye contact. I would mumble and trip over my words, especially because I had a gap between my teeth and extra skin. So it would get caught between my teeth sometimes. So I would literally get my lips caught on my own words. So I did not enjoy speaking. Um, but in seeing Claire Huxtable, I wanted to be that inherently. I wanted to be that smart. I wanted to be that elegant walking into the room. I wanted to be that in control of myself. And I wanted to be that, I wanted to have that elegance and gravitas.
Oh,
And so I
that's a good
began to work
word.
on it.
That's a good word,
But
gravitas.
that's what I wanted. And I feel like that's what Felicia Rashad has always had. In every interview that I've ever watched her do, you can see how thoughtful she is. And when she talks about, growing up in Houston, which at the time was still legally segregated, because the woman's 72 fucking years old.
Man, doesn't look a day over
Bless her.
68.
Okay. Right? Like she's born in 48.
So she was like 1 year younger than older than dad. Because
No,
dad was 49. No,
no, dad was born
he's
in
40,
41.
42. No, he's 42 because mom's
42.
51.
Yeah, he was born in 42 because mom was born in 51.
And there's 9 years
Um,
difference between them. Yes. Math,
right.
everyone. Math.
Quick math. 2 plus 2 is 4.
Not very quick, but
Not very
math
quick, but
nonetheless.
we got there. We got there nevertheless. But she was born in 48, right? And so when she was born, where she was born in Houston, it was still legally segregated at the time, to the point where, like, when she, I think, um, in the interview that I watched that she did recently with BET, because again, she's an avid feminist. Um, she was on their Women of Power workshop thing that they did, and they recorded her hour-long interview, and it was just amazing to watch her talk about, how she was affected by her environment, and how, she modeled herself after what she was seeing. The teachers that she had were always very well put together. They were very sharp. They were very educated. When they finished teaching during the year, they themselves would go to school in the summer. And so she was like, so that was, what I modeled myself after, was constantly being hungry for education and for bettering myself and being observant of the world. And she's like, then when she was like 13, because, segregation, it's not really cool. Her mom, who was a poet laureate, moved them to Mexico City. And so Felicia Rashad fluently speaks Spanish
I
because she
mean,
lived in Mexico City. Also didn't know that. I was like, what?
the more
Mom,
you know.
oh, okay, go ahead with your bilingual ass then. And what she said about that was really interesting to me. It was like, that was the point where her world opened up, because she learned that the Black experience wasn't uniquely just in America, that there were so many other people and experiences and cultures and things like that. And so she just became curious about them and learning about them. And then those things are the things and experiences that she brings into her acting, whether it's on the stage or the small screen stuff that she's done. And I thought, that makes so much sense to me, because I've always been interested in actors that seem very worldly. I do feel like there is a better and deeper life experience that ends up coming through their work, that I can only equate to, it's because they have such broad world experience that they're able to draw upon, and that's what comes through and resonates. And I was just awestruck that here was this Black woman that just like exuded that for me. When I talk about, and I know that I've talked about Diane Carroll before, when I saw her, on Dynasty as a child, I was like, wow, that's what Black opulence looks like. Without knowing what the word opulence was, I was like, but that's what that looks like.
That's decadent. That's
And I,
rich.
yeah, and I like, I want I want that in some way. But that wasn't attainable, right? Because furs and lavish homes and mansions, like, that wasn't our life experience. So that wasn't attainable. But somehow,
I was just happy
Claire
to
Hutt,
have a house.
but like, jokes aside, somehow what was shown on the Cosby show felt like it was attainable. Like, they lived in a brownstone, but it wasn't a crazy big brownstone. It wasn't, their kitchen.
I think you're making a valid point, like between expectations and reality, right? So
Mhm.
here, if everything's gone right and like the golden puppy of luck and fortune follows you around, opulence, there's that is, with hard work, persistent hard work, and having that focus, that laser focus, could get you
Mhm.
the Cosby Show
Mhm. So,
for sure.
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Like
I
fantasy versus reality, because I mean, yeah, do we all have dreams of like having loads of money and being like a YouTuber with like a $12 million mansion that these 21-year-olds don't have any idea how to manage if they ever lost their career? Like, and I mean, and I'm not coming for YouTubers,
Girl,
like I'm not,
don't get me started.
but I'm just
Don't get me
saying, like,
started.
if Black and Pat were to blow up and like we became like mega dumb rich,
If we became very, very financially successful.
successful. I honestly, and I think this probably just attributes to our age. Like, I mean, what do and I've had thoughts about this. I'm like, would I completely uproot how I live because of this? And I
No,
honestly, I wouldn't. Like,
no,
yeah,
and
I'd pay off my house, but like,
the
I
reason,
don't. The flash and all of that, like, it's
but
flash in the pan, like it's fanfare, you know. And if I were a younger woman, maybe absolutely.
I think that there is a difference between, which is why I said it the way that I said it. There's a difference between becoming financially successful and being dumb rich.
Right. Well, I mean,
We would not be dumb rich.
no, no,
We don't have the ability to be dumb rich.
no, not at all.
Okay, so let me just get through a couple other things because I think that they're really important, and I would feel remiss if I didn't mention them because one of my favorite books is for color girls who considered suicide when the rainbow was enough, and it has been turned into a stage performance because it was written, the poetry was written um, to have choreography and music, and for the several, I think it's like 22 different sections that are woven together to be these stories that are primarily about women dealing with oppression, sexism, racism, and loss.
Oh, the woman experience. Okay.
Yes. So if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you do. It is one of the most beloved pieces that I've ever gone through. I love poetry. I always have. I used to attempt to write it. I haven't done it in years. But Felicia Rashad was also in an adaptation of that. She's also directed several things. She's going to be in Song, the Disney Pixar movie that's coming out Christmas Day on digital, the one with Jamie Foxx, which
Okay.
is Pixar's first all black casted, all black focused story that they've ever done. Animated story that they've done, I should
So
say.
wait, Soul isn't going to be the well, that's Pixar,
That's what I
right?
just said. Soul. She's going to be in Soul.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
Soul.
Yes.
Oh, which I
Yes.
can't wait for. My God.
Um, but I think
I hope people really take a good deep look at Soul. I feel like Soul is going to be very comparable to like Up. And I mean, and I'm not like, oh, like it's gonna be so like I definitely think it's gonna be good, but I think it's gonna open up a lot of people's eyes and perspectives the way that Bow did. And there was a lot of
I
polarizing
hope.
stuff with Bow, but I think it opened up a whole lot of dialogue that one needed to happen. That
My thing is that Pixar tends to it really, especially in the last 4 years, with the things that they have been released, they tend to be very mindful of their tone and the stories that they're telling as far as representation and inclusivity go. The fact that the way that Moana was done, that she was not done to be a tragic princess that had to have a romantic interest in order to have full dimensions of
technically
herself.
she's not a Disney princess either. There's
I
actually
mean,
like a rigorous process to actually become a Disney princess, and she is not one.
I mean, if we want to have this conversation, we
Nope,
can.
that's a totally different show, but I'm just saying that there's a
I'm
underlying
just
process.
saying we can go through this if you want to, because technically,
In terms of her story, she is, but in terms of the business, what makes a Disney princess from the marketing standpoint, Disney does not deem Moana a princess.
but she's in the Disney parade of princesses, so they
Yes,
do.
but she hasn't been inducted into it yet. I've been tracking that because I'm kind of a weird Disney nerd like that.
You are a Disneyer like that, and that's fine. And I do agree with you. They haven't done the induction, but to me, from a
Oh yeah,
marketing
she's going to
perspective,
be one, but she just hasn't been inducted yet. They haven't
yeah.
done it yet.
Well, I mean, look, there's all kinds of princesses that now have to be inducted.
I mean,
I
yes.
mean, technically, because of everything that Disney owns,
Yep.
you could make the argument that Frankenfurter is now a Disney princess.
Yep. Should be.
Should be.
Should be.
And I would love to see,
Love to see how they spin that one.
I would love to see Tim join one of those
Yeah.
parades.
Yes.
Anyway,
Side note.
um, but what I would recommend for everyone is understand who your heroes are and why they're heroic to you. And I didn't make the connection until I started doing my research for this episode of the podcast, but I didn't really make the hard connection to the main reason why I am so drawn to Felicia Rashad until I looked at the body of work that she's done, until I looked at, the types of characters that she plays. She's going to be the narrator in Jingle Jangle, which I think, what's today? Today the 14th? 13th?
No.
14th? Which one is it?
No,
Now I
today's
got
the
to look.
15th, right? Because
Okay.
the 13th was Friday and
Yeah,
I didn't do anything spooky for it. So
that's
yeah,
right. The
today's the
13th was
15th.
Friday. So Friday, Jingle Jangle came out on Netflix, which is the all black cast holiday movie.
Yep, I saw that on Disney
Forest
Plus.
Whitaker's. No, it's on
Is it
Netflix.
Is it? I
It's
saw it on
Netflix.
one of my streaming platforms.
Yes, Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Um, but
Sorry.
I know they all run together now, but it's got Forest Whitaker and Felicia Rashad is in it as the narrator, and um, one of the things that I think for me as a person and as a Black woman in America, it has always been present in my mind that I have to be a certain way in order to be successful. I've
Okay.
had multiple people tell me that, both from caring positions, from, family and friends, and also just from people, colleagues that I worked with or worked for, of setting this bar of you must be this in order to be that. And I spent a good chunk of my life trying to be this in order to have that. And I think I've always been inspired by or in awe of folks who were able to say, I don't have to be this in order to be that. I can just be that. Watch me go and do it. And Felicia Rashad is one of the people that has done that over and over and over again in her career. She was in the Drake video for In My Feelings, right?
I haven't seen that music video, so I should probably go
Yeah,
check that
so
out.
so here's the funny thing, right? Because again, I was doing my homework, so I've been watching like a bunch of interviews that she's done, including one of my favorite outtakes from I think it was a Sister to Sister episode, which is a talk show that she did, and as they were like in between the recordings, they started playing music in the studio, and they just started dancing. And let me tell you, you've not lived until you've watched Felicia Rashad cut it up. Oh my God. I'm like, Debbie Allen, she not the only one that can dance in your family. Okay, queen. Okay, queen. I see you. But I say all that to say that I idolize her for the woman that she is and the way that she's carried herself and the way that she has found success and also the way that she has reached back. You mentioned that she had worked with Denzel to sponsor Chadwick, which we had talked about when we did our
Mhm.
Chadwick episode, so that he could go to Oxford and study. But she's been a mentor to many
Right,
people
to
and has
many, right.
funded many across multiple schools,
Even with
individuals and
everything that she's
programs.
worked to aspire to, she's always reaching back to, like you said earlier,
Oh,
pull people forward. Like the
always.
altruism runs
Mhm.
through her blood like
And she's
oxygen.
she's been a vehement vocal advocate for equality, especially in the entertainment industry. And so she's just a woman that I admire, both her work and the way that she carries herself as a person and the way that she exists as a person in the world. Anytime that I get to see an interview, I watched the interview she did last month with Charlemagne the God and Ebro, right, on the Breakfast Club. Now, you and I both know Charlemagne to be a card,
That is a very polite way to
right?
say what I know you would love
When
to
you
say.
watch that interview, I don't think that he has ever spoken to anyone with the reverence that he speaks to Felicia Rashad. Like, he starts to speak and she starts to speak and he shuts up so that he
Wow.
can finish
Wow.
what it
That's
is.
not normally his forte.
You understand? So, like, and one of the things that he brought up in the interview, which I thought was so interesting, he was like, so how did it come about that, you ended up in the Drake video? Did you even know who Drake was? And she laughs. And the way that she laughs, she's like, "Of course I know who Drake was. Do you think I lived under a rock?"
I mean, apparently he thought so.
Right? But I mean, but that's a question that you would ask. Okay, at the time, what? In My Feelings is 2 years old?
It might be a
So she was
little.
70.
I think it's a little older than that, but not by much. I think 2 is still a little. I think maybe 4.
Okay.
Ooh, excuse me.
That
Yikes.
Even at that, she would have been 60,
Right, like she's been around. She has
right?
ears. She hears
Like,
music.
not everybody's Nana, though, knows Drake. Let's be fair.
I
Not
mean,
all the Nanas know,
right.
right?
Yes.
So, like, that's a fair question to be like, is that the kind of music you would listen to? Because frankly, in my mind, that's not the music that Felicia Rashad would listen to.
I think she listens to grown music, like your grown music list on
You know what I mean?
Spotify.
Right? Because, like, the entire time that this interview is happening on the Breakfast Club, she is seated on her couch because it's a Zoom interview because,
Right.
Corona.
Right. COVID,
So
yes.
she's seated in her living room or sitting room. It's probably a sitting room because behind her is a baby grand piano. And
Damn.
on the wall is this gorgeous painting. Like, I found myself like drawn to it, of James Baldwin. And it's
Oh.
different states of him. So not just the pensive Baldwin that we come to know, but like this gorgeous rendering of him, like just having this great belly laugh. And then there's another one that's up high that I couldn't quite make out because it was cut off. And my brain was like, of course she has a piano in her home that is underneath a painting of James Baldwin, because that's who Felicia Rashad is. And that woman was the one who was in the Drake video. And Charlemagne then asks her, like, so, like, is was that, like, the first rap video you've ever been in? He's like, "'Cause I can't imagine that, like, you haven't been asked before by many different rappers to be in their videos." And she giggles, and she, like, you can see she just, like, politely puts herself together, and she's like,
I bet
"Ac"
her mind she's flipping the shit out.
and she just goes, "Actually, no, it was the first time I was asked." And, like, you could see Charlemagne, they cut to me, he's like, "You have to be kidding me. Like, that can't, with all of these rappers that are in the world, like, that couldn't have been." She's like, "Nope, it was the first time that I'd ever been asked, and I was glad to do it. I had a blast." And I'm just sitting there and I'm like,
I think
"Of
there's this weird invisible wall.
and my brain went, "Of course," because only Drake had the audacity to ask, because Felicia Rashad is our mom. She is revered. I could see it in the way that, both Charlemagne and Ebro has what, 5, 6 kids, 8 kids? I can't even keep out. He has a ridiculous amount of kids, right? Both of these grown ass men who have made mockeries of other people
Mhm. On that show.
immediately in her presence became young men and acted as such. And it
Mm.
then didn't surprise me when I thought of it from that perspective. Of course, no other rappers would ask her to be in their videos because you don't disrespect mom like that. Like, you ask mom to be in some very specific things.
Right.
Like, I remember how I felt, and I love Outkast, but I remember how I felt when they grabbed that hook from Patti LaBelle in Ghetto Music and then had her in the music video just making food, but didn't have her sing they just used the recorded hook. I was like, how can you disrespect Miss Patty like that and not even let her sing in the video though?
No, but I think there's a really great nugget that you've kind of hit here, that like this reverence, this unattainable force that keeps us from reaching out to those who we feel have ascended to a place that we can't.
Really on that icon level.
Yeah, because not that I want to say that this person I'm about to compare the situation to is on the same level as Felicia Rashad, because that is not true. But there was an interview, I want to say, that Nia Long did. I want to
Mhm.
say like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Um, when there's a song that came out where someone like made a comment about like, I would date me some Nia Long, and like they play the hook for her, they play the line for her, and she's like, who is this? And they like give the name, and she's like, he ain't never asked me out. Nobody does. Like you alls could come knock on my door,
Mhm.
ask me.
Come
But
on,
like
knock on
there's like this, no, like
Right.
there's a line that you don't cross.
Right.
You know,
Because there is, I think, this universal understanding of an appreciation of the value and who you are and what you represent to make sure that I don't misstep. And I think that that's something that I've always understood about Felicia Rashad and wanted to be able to have some small piece of that I could exude, which is why I worked on my enunciation and I got better at not mumbling my words. I still do it from time to time because that's just who I am. Like I find myself at times like starting to look down and talk and mumble and speak real dull down here. And then people will be like, huh? And then I have to pull myself out of it and remember, no, chest out, things up, take the breath, and then enunciate and deliver the words that you mean to say and deliver them in the way that you mean to say them. And that is absolutely, absolutely directly inspired by Felicia Rashad for me. And I think that that's a beautiful hero to have, one that inspires you to do work on yourself to be better in whatever way that you deem that is better, you know? And I think that right now, especially, as I said, as I started this conversation, I think it's more important than ever for all of us to find those heroes that inspire us to be better in whatever way we define that better to be. And then start to do that work and go after it, you know. Um, One of the things that Felicia Rashad said in an interview was that her mother used to make her and her brother and her sister recite all these different mantras out into the universe all the time as they were children. And one of the ones that she remembered that they had to say all the time was that the universe bears me no ill, I will bear it none in return. And I thought that's a really deep thing for your mom when you're 7 years old to tell you to say once a day, every day as you start the day.
man, mom was just trying to make sure I said please and thank you at 7.
Right? Right? And I'm just like, well, of course you're going to carry yourself a different way. If from the time that you were young, you thought to yourself and started every day saying, the universe bears me no ill will, I will bear it none in return. I also think that's a pretty great way to start off your day. So I'm going to start trying myself to start my day in that way and to focus on not bearing anyone any ill and hoping that I get that bounce back in return in the things that I do. So, Felicia Rashad is absolutely a hero to me. This is my mini love letter to her for instilling in me what a strong, smart Black woman could be at such a young age. that has helped carry me through to my very adult age today.
That we are not going to say out loud because respect.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm. You want to.
Hell fucking yeah, but I'm not going to do it because I respect you. I respect you, and that was a very poignant ending, and that would make me very shitty to go, let me sprinkle this shit on this very beautiful sentiment. I am
Please
not that kind of person.
try to feed me a shit pie.
I am not trying to feed you a shit pie.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I have absolutely enjoyed this conversation. I hope that you have as well. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of The Tribunal. If you enjoyed the episode, then you can find The Tribunal here live on Twitch on our channel every other Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can also find me streaming all kinds of stuff on our community night. Sometimes I just talk. Sometimes I talk and I play games. Sometimes I talk and I play games with other people.
Me.
Come through. I mean, but you're not the only person because I did finally pick up Call of Duty, Cold War. So
Is
probably
that
gonna.
the one with the lady on? No, that's not the one with the lady on it. That's the one with the guy split, right?
Yeah, but you can be a lady because my character is a lady.
Ooh,
I'm probably gonna be playing
revolutionary.
with some of my friends. Well, it actually is because one of the first
I
missions
know, I
I
know, I
go
know, I
back
know, I
to is
know.
in Nam. And the Reagan in that is scarily Reagan looking. But luckily not Reagan sounding. But you can catch me on Wednesday nights streaming all different kinds of things, having our community night chill vibes. So bring them if you like, starting at 7 Eastern, going typically until 9. And then on Fridays, starting at 7 Eastern, you can catch Sis over there doing her Let's Plays where she plays a bunch of different games. Maybe one of these days she'll finish The Last of Us so I can put all the VODs on our YouTube channel. Maybe it could happen. Is it going to happen before the end of 2020? No,
No,
doesn't look like it.
no.
But it could happen. It
Hey,
could
I'm
happen.
also playing
Right
God of War.
now,
You should be happy about that.
I am happy about that. I would also like you to finish The Last of Us so I can put these VODs up. That would be great. It would be
Okay.
dopes.
Okay.
But I am also enjoying you playing the shit out of God of War. I'm not enjoying you playing Man of Madon Little Hope, but that's okay. It's not about me. It's about you guys.
Me.
Want to play and what you want to see play. And luckily,
I
there's
mean,
no
no one's
camera
told me
going
they
like
want to say they want me to play that. I just want to. So
I know.
the Dark
You
Picture
know,
series is completely for me.
yep, because it's not for me, but it can be for you. So you can join her here at 7 Eastern on Friday nights as well. And please make sure that you check out our channel, you check out our social, because we talk about when we're going to be doing stuff on our social handles. We are at Black and Pat on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. So please make sure that you check all of those out because we also announce when we're going to be doing surprise streams because they can happen because sometimes we just
I
like to
mean,
play
if we tell you exactly when they are surprised, then they're not a surprise.
Usually I say
It's like
after
right before,
I'm
like
live.
surprise, I'm gonna be on right now.
No, I actually do it like when I'm like, surprise, I'm actually live right now. Come check me out. So we have those things that happen. We also have a Discord. I will actually be putting up on our social the link to our Discord. So if you want to join it and find out when we're going live, what we're talking about, suggest some things to talk about, join our cooking channel, like you can. This community is all about what we want to make it about. We want to focus on bringing more people in and just having a good time together with one another and maybe just maybe making a little space for some other voices and some other conversations that invite more people in than necessarily keep people out. So if you're about that, then please join the community. We'd be happy to have you. We appreciate whatever follows and subscriptions that you want to do. Subscriptions help us out because they let us grow moving forward. So hopefully we can bring in a video editor and it won't just be me editing our videos. But most importantly, we just want you to join in the fun and the conversation. So it's time to wrap this guy up. I've enjoyed it. I'm Ro.
And I'm Manda.
Remember, always and.
Never or.
We'll catch you in 2 weeks, guys.
Adios, guys.
Bye.